Hi, everybody. I want to make a short, hopefully, and sort of sweet video on how to do the questions and response to readings. So, the good news is this is an easy assignment to do. It's great for your grade, just something you have to keep up with the readings. You only turn it in twice a semester. You turn it at the midterm, at the final. But let me show you how to do it. So, here in our class, here in Canvas, go to modules. So we'll pop over to modules and let's take an example. For example, let's go to week 3. Now, each week, as you guys see in modules, is laid out for you guys. So here's the dates. At the start of the week, usually the first page there for each individual week, you'll see reading homework. So we'll click on that. It'll open up. There we go. So it's telling you here's week 3. Here's the reading you're doing. And then make sure you make your questions, which this video is explaining how to do it. And there we go. There's the reading. Whoops. Well, my screen's kind of, okay, it's fine. It cuts it off, but you guys see what it is. So you guys reading Truman pages 39 to 50 for January 31. And then you're reading for the record, pages 11-15, Klan terrorism, South Carolina. Now you notice after both of those, it says 2 questions. It's like, ooh, what does that mean? So in the same assignment, if you scroll down a little bit farther, the same page, and let me scroll down a little farther. You guys can't see it, but I can move the screen down. There we go. Click on sample questions response to readings. And when it opens up, you'll see a Word doc here. Let me move this over. I can make this a little bigger. Okay, yeah, there we go. So you're going to create a Word document, and this document you'll add to the whole semester up until the midterm. At the midterm, you'll submit this whole document in Canvas, in one of the modules. And then the second half of the semester, you'll also have a new document, but same format, where you have all your questions all saved up based on each class and each reading required reading, and you'll turn that in on the day of the final. So this sample shows you what the cover page will look like. You'll see question response to reading for David McCullough's Truman, and then David Shee, Holly Mayer. They're for the record, document history, U.S. history. So that's a title for this document you can turn in. Then you put your name in there, of course, and our class info, your date, of course, be not this one. And then here's what it looks like. So here's what you guys are preparing. So in the sample I just showed you, I think that was a January 31. So you put January 31 here, and you write David McCullough Truman. You put the page numbers there that are due that day, and then you simply write out 2 questions based on what you just read. Now, the good news is only questions, not answers. So you don't answer these questions. These are genuine questions you actually have. So as you're reading, and you're thinking, of course, as you're reading, you're thinking, why would Harry Truman have done this? I don't understand why he took this action. Perfect, write that question out. Or maybe you come across a sentence that really grabbed you, but I don't know where this is going. I don't know what this means. Perfect. You can quote that entire sentence. So it's a genuine question you have. You don't know the answer to. It's not like, how tall was Harry Truman at this moment or something. It's not that kind of question. It's a question that's naturally, as you're reading that chapter, you're like, this is curious. Why would Harry Truman have thought that at this moment? That doesn't make sense to me. Perfect. That's your question. So write that question out and then put the page number, you see it right here, that prompted the question. So the way to do this is just have your laptop handy as you're reading the required section in Truman. You'll be coming across and you'll see maybe he'll do something. And for example, in one reading you guys will do, it'll mention Truman being on the telephone with his girlfriend, Bessie, and they're on a party line. And you're like, I don't know what a party line is. Like, what is a party line? How would that affected the privacy of their phone call? Perfect. There's your question. What is a party line, and how would that affected the privacy of Harry Truman's conversation with his girlfriend? There you go. There's your question. And then you put the page number where you're reading about Harry being on a party line. Like, what does that mean? Okay, there you go. Perfect. So just choose something, be thoughtful, but just as you read, choose something like, I don't understand, like, why would they have thought this? What would happen if they would have done this? Whatever it is, just be thoughtful as you read. Just naturally questions should pop up in your mind. You'll make 2 of these for that reading Truman. Now, typically on the same class, the due date, also you'll have one reading from your textbook for the record. Sometimes there's two, but usually there's one. But in any case, you'll make 2 questions for each reading there as 2. Now, my sample, I only have 1 each, but normally you would do 2. So, for example, this reading from Mitchell Palmer's The Case Against the Reds, page 169 to 160, you see there's a question. Again, you can see how in this one I quoted part of it. So that's a good way to do it too. Just as you read, maybe come across a quote and you're like, man, so what did he mean by this phrase, or what's taking place? And you can quote it and then ask a question with it, as you see in the sample right here. And you also see that right here too. Again, there's a quote right here, and this individual says this, and you're like, so what would this mean in this situation, or how will this apply? How will this change things? And again, you see the page number there. See that? So just be thoughtful. Just want you to be thoughtful. Record the question, then you'll save it, right? And that would be due for that day. The next class reading to do, you repeat the same thing. You put that due date there. You put the Truman pages there. Then your 2 questions, and then your for the record, and then your 2 questions. So on the typical day, you have a total of 4 questions that you write down that day. On that class day, and the class is divided up into 2 days a week. You can, participate in the class since it's online when you feel like it, but there's 2 questions. 2 kind of classes artificially set up during the week, Tuesday, Thursday. It could be other days of the week too, frankly, but just to keep you guys on a schedule. On the typical class homework for those 2 days during the week, for that typical day, again, you'll probably have 4 questions. 2 from Truman, as you see here in the sample, and likely 2 for the record. They're worth a lot of points. So the way I grade this, I just want you to be thoughtful, be specific. Show me by your question that you've read the chapter. Again, one of the strong ways to do that is a quote and asking questions about that quote. That's a very strong way to show me you've read that chapter. Just be thoughtful. You get all the points. It's worth a ton of points. It's easy to do. Again, just as you're reading Truman, as you're reading your textbook for the record, or here we go, my dog-eared Truman copy. There we go. Just have those next to you. So as you're reading, you come across something, and I'll give you an example of this. So Harry Truman, dating his girlfriend at the time, Bessie, hoping to marry her, he makes this homemade tennis court, I guess in the backyard of his parents' place. I want to know more about that. McCullough mentions that he making this tennis court. He also mentioned it didn't work because it had a little bit of a slant. But if that was me, it'd bring up some questions like, so he sets up a whole net. Is this a grass court? Is this just dirt? What did Bessie think of his tennis court? That's a very romantic gesture, I suppose, a whole tennis court for his girlfriend. Even though it turns out it didn't really work very well. But I want to know. It makes me laugh. I want to know more about that. That might be a natural place to ask a question as you're reading, like, interesting. So is this a grass court? And did he carefully measure it out? And did the family continue to use it? Or is it, once it didn't work, they just gave up? I want to know more. Perfect. You could ask a question about that. I hope this makes sense. Remember, you'll turn these questions in. You don't turn them in daily, right? You'll save them on that Word document, just class by class. You keep saving them, saving these questions, saving the questions. At the midterm, you'll upload this whole document in the Canvas and the assignment page. Second half of the semester, you'll start a new document, again, class by class. You'll add those questions in all the way up to the final, and then you'll upload this Word document in the assignment page there at the end of modules. So it's very good for your grade. The only way students lose points on this assignment is if they don't do it clearly. Or, and this is kind of rare, but sometimes I'll read the questions and realize no thought was put into the question and no effort. And I can tell they didn't really read based on the kind of question they asked. Then obviously they lose some points. The typical student, though, gets all the points. Just be thoughtful. Show me by your questions you read. Again, no answers, but just good, solid questions that are specific that show me you read. And then you're in very good shape. So I hope that helps you on how to do questions response to readings. And if you have any questions, just let me know. But hopefully this will answer all your questions for this important and good for your grade assignment based on the readings you guys do for class. So take care, everybody.